Good morning, welcome back to the farm. I'm Benj, and what a great day it is. The sun is absolutely beaming down today. Flock down is finished and the chickens are out enjoying themselves. Peanut Junior's pregnant. She was in the big pen. Last night we walked around. We've got her in the train carriage, which is where she's hopefully going to farrow. She's being a little bit noisy. She's a little bit upset that she's not in with the rest of the girls, but you can see just through the other side she's got little Bruce to talk to. So she's not totally alone. And I did actually get to finish clearing out the compost bin yesterday. So both number 1 and number 2 bins are totally empty. Number 3 is overflowing, but it is sinking down. It's gone down quite a lot just since yesterday, and the temperature hasn't really moved much, but another couple of days I'm hoping that it will get up to about 40-50 degrees on there. But what I'm going to do today is get the lawnmower out. You can see in amongst the orchard the grass is coming up really quite high, and there's a lot of brambles coming through towards the back, so I'm going to run the mower over all of that. More to try and prevent the brambles from taking a hold again. But it's all going to be good compostable material. Well, I've just walked into the orchard just to have a closer look, and you can just see how many dandelions there are in here. I'm going to try not to mow the area where all these dandelions are, because that is a good resource for the bees. With the beehives being just here and all these dandelions, I'll just leave it for a few more days until they start going to seed. I'm not going to bother mowing them. Just down here especially, the grass is really getting quite long. Lots of stinging nettles over here. They'll run perfectly through the mower, and I'll get them in the compost bin. We'll have a quick look at the bees while we're here. Another job I've got to do today, whilst the sun's shining, is do an inspection on all 4 of these hives. The wind's picked up quite a bit, which isn't ideal, but you can see that they're really active today, which is a good sign. Can't see much happening on the very end hive, which has only got a very small colony. In fact, I can just see a couple of bees going in then. So they're all active, which is great. And the field of rape next door, more flowers have started appearing on that, so they don't have to go far to get their nectar and their pollen. Everything's coming out. Even on some of the apple trees there's blossom that's going to be bursting any day now. And it's not just this tree. This tree's got blossom ready to go. So I'm quite hopeful that we're going to get some sort of crop out of this orchard at the end of this year. It's not going to be massive, but if we get a couple of apples, that will be good. Right, so I need to stop rabbiting on, get the lawnmower out and get some of this grass cut down. Well, I've only been mowing 5 minutes and already I've filled the bottom of this compost bin. That's got the green matter, and now for the brown material. And what we've got just there is a big compost heap that we've made for the last 2 years since we've been on this plot, and it's not been constructed very well. So what I'm going to do is start breaking that down and use that as my brown material, because there are a lot of twigs, there's a lot of straw, there's a small part that I've just dug out at the back, and in fact there's a lot of chicken manure, pigeon manure that's also gone on here, all good for the compost. And you can see that it is a lot of wood shavings, a lot of straw. Like I said, there is a lot of animal manure gone into this, so it probably will have quite a bit of nitrogen, but I'm going to use this 50-50 with grass cuttings in this next compost heap, and I hope by using this 50-50 with fresh grass cuttings it's going to speed up the process of rotting down really well. As you can see, we've got quite a big mountain of rubbish here to get through. Couple that with all the grass and all the stinging nettles that I've got to mow yet, it's not going to take me very long at all to fill those compost bays. That's why I need to find more pallets and get some more bays constructed rather quickly. And then, just so we're not going too heavy on the nitrogen material, I've got a bag of the sieved wood chip from out the wood. Now, they are quite big bits of wood chip, but they really are quite soft. Most of them just break down. So another year in a compost heap and they should be good. And this is the material that we're using from off the old compost bed there, or compost heap. A lot of straw, a lot of wood shavings. Some of it's been there a year, maybe a bit longer, so it is quite well rotted down, but I think it's probably not as nitrogen rich as we'd need it, and it still needs to compost down further. And then between the rotted wood chip, the compost that we're taking off the heap over there, mixing in loads of cut stinging nettles and grass, and putting 3 tubs of this to 2 wheelbarrows off that compost heap to half a bag of the wood chip that I'm sieving in the wood. Hopefully that's a good ratio to produce some really good compost. I won't know until I take this off in about 6 months' time, ready to flip it into another bay. But I'm putting more grass clippings in this time than I did when I built the first 2 bays. There was a lot of leaf that went in there, and that's probably the reason why it's become so dry and not so well rotted down. Well, we've actually got this first compost bin filled about halfway now, and we've only made a very small inroad to some of the mowing of the grass that needs to be done. Only this very immediate area just around this gate's been done, and a little bit into this wood around that compost heap where a lot of nettles were. But I'm going to knock compost making on the head now, and whilst the sun's up I'm going to go and get into those beehives. I didn't manage to do an inspection last week because of the rain and the terrible weather, so it's been 2 weeks since I've been in there. Firstly, I want to make sure that there's no queen cells being formed, and secondly, we want to know whether they're packing loads of nectar into those supers that I put on a couple of weeks ago. And it's also going to be interesting to see how easy it is to spot the queen now that they're all marked. So I'm going to start with this, which is the smallest colony of all the bees that I've got. Just want to see that she's got a good brood pattern, the queen, because it was really small the last time I entered. There's not a lot of bees in there at all. And you can just see how few bees there are in here. They're only really covering 2 frames. We'll have a little look inside anyway, see what's going on. But they've got lots of stores. You can see all the capped cells, so that's honey. They're not starving. Well, they've got pollen and they've got honey, and the brood pattern is increasing, and there's the queen. Spotted her straight away You can see her with the yellow spot on. I marked her just the other week. And the brood pattern has increased. It's almost 3 times the size that it was. There aren't many eggs at all. And the brood pattern is rather small. We'll check the next frame. And no brood at all on here. The queen's just not doing her job very well. Let's close her up. Right, so the small colony is looking quite dire really. I don't know whether they're going to survive. I know that these 3 are a lot stronger colonies. Let's see what we look like down below. And straight away you can just see the number of bees in here is probably 5-6 times the amount that we saw in the last hive. Loads of pollen, and there's the queen with the yellow blob on her back, and she's doing a real good job. There's no brood on this frame, but there are lots of eggs. It's difficult for me to show you on this camera. And that's the kind of brood pattern I would have liked to have seen on the first hive. Almost wall to wall in capped brood. There's also larvae in all the stages around the outsides of that capped brood. And if we look on the other side, pretty much the same. And this is what we're doing the inspection for. You can see that cell. That's where they'll start a queen cell. Right now there's no egg in it, so there is no danger. And what I'll do is I'm just going to break it just to double check that there isn't anything in there, and there isn't, but I'm breaking that down so I'm limiting the chance of making another queen. This is probably the best colony that we have at the minute. It's the only one that we've checked so far that's got nectar in the super, but this has got a really good frame of brood. Excellent pattern. This is a strong queen. See if these got any bees up top. None that I can see. Again, not a massive amount of bees compared to the 2 middle ones. But that there is a good frame of brood, and there are eggs all around the outside of that pattern. But a real good frame of brood, really good. And on that side, this queen's doing a good job. And there again, plenty of brood, plenty of eggs, plenty of larvae. Same on this side, but I haven't found the queen yet, or haven't seen the queen. Well, the beehives don't look too bad. There is the one colony that's a lot smaller than the other 3, but the brood pattern has increased in size since the last time I inspected, so I think there's a chance that they'll pick up. We're just going to have to wait and see. But the other 3, they're looking good, especially the one in the middle that's now packing nectar up in the super. Really happy about that. But at least I know that the beehives are doing okay. And now I've finished that job and there's still the sun in the sky, I'm going to crack on with a little bit more composting. But I'm going to leave you here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.